What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Next Gen Pod. With you, it's the three, Umana and Joe Tipton and Jamie Shaw of On Three Rivals. How you guys feeling? We got some news to break, but Jamie, how are you feeling? You've been a real like you got a lot of motor today, so you go first.
Man, basketball season. It's here. Night one started. Got to see all the stuff. It's palpable. The energy, the feel, it's in the air. Basketball season, you can't beat it.
Yeah, you got a lot of energy. I need some of that. Like last week, you didn't have it. I had it. Now Now we interchange. So, Joe, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. No, excited to talk some recruiting, talk some rankings. It's going to be a good day. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So, Jasiah Jervis, number 20 on Rivals, recent 226 rankings, has committed to Michigan State. So, Joe, give us the breakdown. How was that process that led to Josiah committing to Michigan State?
Yeah, Jervis, his recruitment exploded this summer, on the EYBL circuit, playing for the Wrens, and I think he got at least 10, maybe even 15 new schools this summer alone. Some really big time programs jumped into the mix with him. He ended up narrowing it down to five: Michigan State, Illinois, Tennessee, NC State, and Pitt. I think it ultimately really came down to Michigan State, and NC State, and then kind of followed up by Tennessee in third place. But how he landed at Michigan State, like Tom Izzo, he's not a young guy, right? I mean, he's not. I mean, feels like he's still in his prime. They just made an Elite Eight, but Izzo made him a massive, massive priority. Like it is very rare that you see a head coach recruit a kid that hard as he did Jasiah Jervis. He recruited him like he was the number one ranked player in the country. Like he recruited this kid really hard. I mean, it was very well known that Izzo, like he was going all in to land Josiah Jervis. And obviously he did so in a big way and obviously land one of the biggest risers here in the senior class. Like you said, the number 20 ranked player in the class. I expect him to have a very big role for the Spartans next year. So really nice pickup. And it's their third commitment this cycle. So Izzo's getting it done, and they're even on a couple other guys as well. Still involved with Ethan Taylor, still involved with Maximo Adams, and already got Julius Avin and Carlos Medlock committed. So there's a decent chance that Michigan State could have a four or five, even a five-man class, which is sizable in this day and age. You know what I mean? Colleges are taking less and less high schoolers, so Izzo doesn't necessarily love the portal. He does it when he needs to, but they've done a really good job, and props to him for Landon Jervis.
Yeah, definitely props to him. He's getting guys like like you said with Medlock and Avon, and now with Josiah. Those are Michigan State guys. Those are Izzo type of players, just tough, can score, but also can do other things that impact winning. Jamie, before I go too far along with Josiah's game, give us the breakdown of how he fits at Michigan State.
Well, you look at Joe mentioned this summer his recruitment took off. What he did that summer, his career, he's been kind of a secondary option. He's been a connecting player, an off-ball type guy, connecting the pieces around him. This summer, he showed that he can be the feature of a team that wins. He helped lead his New York Rens team to the Peach Jam Finals. He averaged 16.3 points on 2.5 made threes per game. He showed that he can be the primary option of the guy at the top of the scouting report and still produce in a productive manner. He's a two-way type guy, and you speak toward the fit at Michigan State actors, guys like Aaron Henry, guys like Gary Harris, even Denzel Valentine to a certain extent that he's had in recent years. So looking at what kind of Josiah Jervis brings is the connecting nature of somebody who can dribble, shoot, and pass to an advantage, somebody who can space the floor shooting, somebody who can reset into offense and move the ball around while also guarding the opposing team's best perimeter wing option. There's a fit there. There's a precedence that Izzo's had with this type of player, and there's a fit there as to why, like Joe said, he prioritized him at a heavy nature like he was the top guy in the class. He was his top guy in the class, and it pulled through at the end.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Joe, also talk about how Josiah, just the impact of him coming to Michigan State. This is their third commit. how impactful is this for the Spartans, and how big of a difference can he make in impact of winning next year?
Yeah, I think a pretty sizable one. I think he's a winning type of player, kind of like Jamie led on, making the championship there with EYBL. Like he has all the winning characteristics. He has everything that you want. Grit, hard nosed player that a guy like Izzo wants, for his team in Michigan State. And kind of like I said earlier, he's kind of like when other teams are kind of, gearing themselves more towards the portal, he's still going all in on high school. I know they only took 2 high schoolers last year. But this year could end up having a big class. And I think that Izzo still finds real value in bringing in super high level talented freshmen, and Jervis is a guy that can help Michigan State win from day one.
Yeah, I definitely think just with his scoring, like Jamie talked about his ability to dribble, pass, and shoot, but he has a real level of toughness, especially even recently we saw him in the border league. I know we're preseason games, but he just played with a lot of like tenacity and purpose, right? With his scoring, with his defending, he's guarding sometimes full length in the court. He's showing that he can switch and guard other just, positions. I really just like how he just got out there. He knew he needed to get a bucket. He's going to go get a bucket. He's creating advantages. And with that, he's then, passing to his teammates for open threes. I saw him as like showing real leadership and encouraging guys, even when guys are missing shots or if guys aren't rebounding, he's telling them, hey, go rebound. I like that he communicates. I like that he's tough. And I like that he can just really score the basketball. But scoring the basketball isn't the only thing he does that provides impact on winning. So I agree with you guys. Like Joe said, it's a sizable addition to the Spartans. I think he's going to impact winning right away as a freshman.
And I think, too, I really like what Izzo has done with this class. I mean, you look kind of as a whole, Joe hinted at it earlier, CJ Medlock coming in at the point of attack. He's a guard who can score, create advantages while also touching the paint and stretch the floor with his shooting ability. Very tough-minded type guy, a very Izzo type of point guard. Then Julius Avent's a guy, a physical guy on the block that can kind of toggle in between both forward positions while creating advantages close to the rim as well. It's a very Izzo-centric class, and we'll see how he closes, as Joe mentioned, Ethan Taylor and Maxi still on the board as well. But 4 out of the 5 starters at Michigan State this year are homegrown high school recruits, players within their system, and he has targeted guys in this class, Jasiah Jervis included, that fit what he has traditionally won with in the past. Really, really like this class they're putting together.
There you go. From the expert himself, Jamie Shaw, Joe Tipton, Umana, Jasiah Jervis from Michigan State. Now, hey guys, let's get to the next topic. So let's get into some recruiting notes. Jamie, Arafan Deian. I hope I'm saying his last name right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Give us the update. The number 11th ranked player on Rivals, correct? Yep.
Yes.
Give us an update on.
Yeah, big center, number 1 center in the class. Obviously, he's going to draw a lot of attention throughout the process. The big 7-footer. He took official visits, Kentucky, Arkansas, Virginia, Indiana, and Houston. Those happen to be his final group. Throughout the whole process, even leading into the official visits, Houston was carrying a little bit of momentum with the people I was talking to. Each visit somebody takes, there's obviously new intel that comes out. There's new momentum that happens coming out as you talk to sources. But now that all his official visits are done and we're heading down kind of the home stretch of his recruitment, Houston continues to be the school that I'm hearing the most. It continues to be the program that builds momentum. By all accounts, the visit went very well toward Houston. And he has set a November 19th commitment date for his birthday as well. At this point in time, the sources I'm talking to are saying Houston is carrying a lot of momentum as we head toward that date.
Yeah, I do think even with the other schools, like I know Kentucky tried hard, Arkansas tried. To be honest with you, like Jamie said, Houston kind of was always out front. And frankly, I think the other schools always kind of knew they were probably behind. And just to be brutally blunt, I think most of them were spinning their tires. Like I think this kid, like Houston was involved with him before he like blew up. Like this summer,
right?
I mean, like just to give props to Jamie, he's always been higher on Arafan as a player, had him ranked higher than most people just from the get-go when he came over from Iowa United. And where was he at previously, Jamie, before his previous high school?
He was in Canada.
Yeah, he was up in Canada. And Jamie, I think that's when
Yeah,
Jamie
he was
discovered him.
out of school in Canada, and that school moved down to Iowa to become Iowa United and kind of built their facility there.
Yeah, and then Houston made an early relationship with him and an early impression, and just were able to hold on to that. And it seems like that they've been that they're kind of the leader, just to add a little bit more to what Jamie said.
Yeah, no, that same thing I'm hearing, that he's U of H is in the lead, and like you said, Joe, like he's been U of H has been on it for a while before he even blew up. I remember them mentioning his name like early spring before even the grassroots season was starting. So they've been on that for a while, and yeah, I think we're all hearing the same thing, that U of H is in the lead, and that's probably likely where he's going. So Miles Sadler, next up, what's the update on him?
Yeah, Miles Sadler just released his final 6: Oklahoma, West Virginia, UCLA, Maryland, USC, and Tennessee. Of those 6, he's only taken 3 official visits: Tennessee, Oklahoma, West Virginia. Kind of coming out of those official visits, West Virginia seems to be the school that's building a little bit of momentum with the people I'm talking with. However, in the conversations I'm also having, they're keeping an eye on schools like Oklahoma, UCLA, as well. In talking with Miles, he has mentioned that he is open to waiting until after the early signing period to make his decision, watching a little bit of the games and kind of figuring out roles and what things look like and all that as well. Worth seeing if he takes any more official visits, seeing if UCLA can get him on campus and what it looks like as things progress. USC and Maryland, we'll see there. But at this point in time, West Virginia is kind of the school that most people are mentioning as well. But there's a little bit of time to go, it feels like, with Miles's recruitment. So we'll see as an official kind of time frame starts to emerge, an official kind of commitment date starts to emerge, what these schools are able to position themselves with and how they're able to continue to move forward in his recruitment.
That's the update on Miles.
Just to add a little bit more, the early signing period for the fans that don't know, November 12th through 19th, that's when we're anticipating a lot of these players to make a decision. Sadler has talked about waiting until January in a recent interview with Jamie. But I've even been told that there is a chance that he does decide within that time frame. But things would have to go right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. The number 23rd ranked player on Rivals, Miles Sadler. Jamie, appreciate the updates. Joe, Maxie Adams, the number 18th ranked player on Rivals. What's the update on him?
Yeah, another big time riser this summer. He was always ranked pretty high, like, in that 25 to 30 range, but then has now taken another step in his development. But he's, I believe, on Monday, cut his list down to 4: Kentucky, North Carolina, Texas, and Michigan State. A little bit earlier in the process, I would say probably about a month ago, I was hearing Texas and Michigan State more, but North Carolina has came on really strong after his visit. I believe they got his final official visit, and he's seen all the others. He canceled his Duke visit recently after seeing UNC. I think it's more than likely he'll probably make a decision by the early signing period as well. If I'm a betting man, I would probably put my money on North Carolina, but definitely wouldn't count out like a late push from a school like Texas, and maybe even Michigan State as well. But I do think Kentucky is in one of those positions where they are obviously prioritizing Tyron Stokes, and it very much feels like they are awaiting a decision from him before they really are able to move on really any of their other targets.
Yeah, it's like the dominoes have to, once Tyron commits, once he announces, like, we all heard that it's probably Kentucky, then everything else kind of just works its way out on some of these, some of these schools, who they're targeting, how hard they're still targeting, and just where these players are going to go to. Next one, Joe. Ethan Taylor, you talk about a high riser. Ethan Taylor was someone that was, I want to say virtually unknown, but someone that was kind of in the lower, probably in the 100s or just right inside the 100. Now he, the second ranked center in the ranking. So give us an update on his recruitment.
Yeah, like you said, I had another kid that had a big summer. Him specifically with Mocan. I think he's got a formal list of 6: Michigan State, Kansas, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Oregon, and Indiana. I think the Kentucky's basically out. He canceled that visit. He didn't end up taking that trip. The early front runner was Kansas. He's from there. I think there was an initial pull for him to play for the Jayhawks. Over time, I think that's faded. They've put a pretty, relatively big, at least for this day and age, class together already, recruiting other high school guys. They already have at least, I think, 3 committed, and then 1 in 2027 in Javon Bardwell. But I think kind of as we near this final stretch in his recruitment, it's coming down to Michigan State and Oregon. My sources have doubts that he would go that far away from home to Oregon, but they are coming pretty strong, at least from the NIL perspective, which obviously weighs into almost, these decisions. You definitely need to consider that. I think a lot of fans get tied up. Oh, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. So the way I view it is these are job offers. Like that's the way college basketball is now. Like you gotta factor in like, all right, how much money am I going to make at this school? Yes, Ethan Taylor very well could take a good bit less to go to a different program. Players all the time choose less money to go to a better fit. But I think that's the push from Oregon there is they're being very competitive from that department. But I think ultimately Michigan State has done the best overall job. Heading out of that visit, there was a tremendous amount of buzz. I was reading an interview over at that the Spartan Mag did, our Michigan team cited Rivals, and Ethan Taylor was blown away by his time in East Lansing. So I think that they're kind of battling out with Oregon there, but I do like the Spartans' chances.
There you go, Michigan State.
Yeah, backing that up with kind of Joe, it's been pretty consistent since the visit. Other schools have jumped into the mix, but Michigan State has kind of been the constant one that's been talked about, kind of the bar that was set in the conversations I'm having around Ethan Taylor as well. So, other schools have made runs at it. Other schools have been in the mix, but it seems like the consistent one being mentioned has been Michigan State since coming off of that visit. So it'll be interesting to see Izzo's ability to close. Joe, have you heard a kind of a commitment time frame or date on for Ethan?
I think it'll be by the early signing period. So, that November 12th to November 19th range, could even be before then. I would say next 1 to 2 weeks, I think he'll more than likely have a decision.
Yeah, that'll be another big time pickup for Izzo in Michigan State if they land Ethan Taylor. And as we watched the opening day of college basketball, like these bigs like him, they like make their presence known inside. If it's just sealing or they're screening and offensive rebound and finishing, they just do a whole lot. So that's another one. If that gets done, that's a big time pickup for Izzo. Now, rivals. Jamie, the rankings came out this week. All right. Let's talk about you have some players that are ranked higher on the Rivals platform compared to the others. So let's talk about first off Bryson Howard, which we have talked about in previous episodes. He's ranked 3rd, and then the other ranking sites, I think he's probably in the teens or probably in the 20s. I believe I haven't really seen. So
yeah,
talk about why you have Bryson Howard ranked at 3rd in the country.
For sure. So Bryson Howard, he jumped from number 11 to number 3 overall in our last ranking. What he brings is a high floor as a player. He's somebody that's a two-way threat, but he can also manufacture and create his own jump shot. The leap that he's taken in his development, even from the end of last high school season into this AAU year, from May up until now, has been massive. And what you're seeing is a guy who has ability coming into his confidence. He's figuring out his role and he's comfortable with who he is as a player. And you're seeing that affect winning in the games. He's able to dribble, shoot, and pass to an advantage. He can create his own looks within the half court, playing within kind of a phone booth situationally, getting into the 2-dribble pull-up, 1-2 dribble pull-up. Plays with great balance. He can knock down the catch and shoot 3 from the corner. But he's also a versatile defender, able to guard up and down a lineup. He can switch down and guard forwards on the block. He can guard on the ball. He can get off the ball, play up the line, and aggressively, turn defense into offense pretty quickly. He's somebody who's still growing into what he could end up being as a player, but the floor is very high with the long-term outcome as to what he has given his 6'4", 200-pound frame with good length, two-way ability, and also ability to create advantages on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, there you go.
Isn't he super young too?
Yeah, I think he graduates at 7.
Yeah, very, very, very young for his class. Obviously Duke got a hold of him Going there was their first commitment in the class of that. But yeah, he's one that it's just kind of hard not to see the pan out at the end of the day.
Yeah, and he got the bloodline. His dad played in the league, was NBA All-Star. I mean, that plays into account as well. Name some others like y'all. What I do notice about the rivals rankings is it's not like, hey, this ranking site has this person here. Do we need to kind of mirror that? Like, it's really just, hey, this is what I think, this is what we think, and this, you stand on that. Who are some other players that you have ranked higher on y'all's platform compared to the others?
Well, for sure. I mean, there's a couple guys here. We have guys that took big jumps and then also guys that took higher. So I'll start with some of the bigger jumps, and it's not jump by number, but just kind of jumps in status or tier. You have the Ratliff twins. We had Darius Ratliff jump from 35 to 12 in Adonis's twin, 57 to 16. What you see with both of those guys is long-term outcome, the upside of what they could potentially end up being. They struggled through injuries kind of over the past 8 to 12 months. Now they're back to steady playing, and we're able to see the growth that they've had, both of them being 7 foot tall, but also the unique fluidity they have athletically, how they are as movers. Both also their ability to create advantages on the offensive end of the floor, stretching the floor a little bit. Darius a little bit more close to the basket as well, able to flash and get over his left shoulder, while Adonis is more so 2 dribbles getting into his jump shot. Another one is Lucas Murillo, the Illinois commitment, jumped from 31 to 20. Getting him into the top 20 was interesting. He's a unique player with his processing ability. Ball in hand at 6'7". He's able to initiate offense. He's a great passer, able to deliver on target on time from multiple levels, both hands, live dribble, all of that type stuff. He also rebounds the ball well. He gets his team into consistent advantages from multiple levels of the floor, which is very unique at 6'7", his ability to do, which also translates as you watch him moving forward, his ability to quickly process in that manner. Those are some big leapers. By number, the biggest jump was Willie Burnett, who jumped 69 spots. He's now number 57. Mississippi State commitment. What you like about Willie Burnett is his ability to manufacture offense. You see somebody who the shot clock's running down, give him the ball. He's able to create a clean look for himself within the flow of the half court. He's a good shooter, got great footwork. He's a very crafty footwork, actually able to create space multiple ways, playing very balanced, but also able to really shoot the ball kind of at a high level. He's somebody that you see Chris Jan's type system with the Josh Hubbards of the world. He's got Jaden Epps there now. The freedom that he's able to give his guards to go create offense. Willie Burnett really fits that as to what he brings to Mississippi State. So it's going to be very intriguing to see what he does there. But he was the biggest jumper all the way up to number 57 overall in the rankings based on his ability to self-create offense, very quickly and pretty consistently.
Joe, what is your thoughts on what Jamie has talked about so far?
Yeah, I think Jamie. I think a lot of the time, just in rankings in general, there's some groupthink because you see where other people have them ranked. 247 ESPN, but Jamie doesn't care. Like Jamie is a big believer in just ranking the players where he really feels they should be ranked, and that's not a dig at all to anyone else, because Jamie can tell you first, evaluating and ranking players is hard. And frankly, I'm glad that Jamie has taken that load on himself as doing the rankings as rivals, because it is not an easy thing to do. But Jamie's done a really good job. And the amount of hours that he does scouting, evaluating film in the gym, props to him. And he's never been afraid to be different and double down on, how he feels about players, and being much higher on players than somebody else's, some other sites, or even the opposite of that, being quite lower on players than comparison to others. So so props to Jamie for all that he does at Rivals, and scouting and evaluating these players.
Yeah, shout out to Jamie, because I know they be coming at you, and Jamie, he just like, hey, this is what I think, and he stands on that. I do really like, applaud you for doing that, because I know it's not an easy job, especially when you talk about ranking like 100 or 150 players in a class, and we all know, like, once you get to a certain point in that ranking, like you can probably put from like 51 to 150, you could probably put there's 200 kids that probably are in consideration of that. So props to you, and just for you to just stand on what you believe in and what you put out, and not switching up.
And then kind of looking at rankings too, everybody's objective or everybody's North Star is different when it comes to rankings. At Rivals, what we're looking at is the NBA draft. So at the very top of our draft or the very top of our ranking, ultimately we want our number one guy to go number one on draft night. Number two, go number two, and on down the list. So not everybody's criteria is the same looking throughout, and that's what makes rankings so wonderful. Is you have different outlooks, different outcomes, and different criteria for how to list the players. I can only speak for us at Rivals and what we're doing and everything, but kind of along with that, there are some other outliers that we're higher on than the industry when it comes to the rankings. One of those being Caleb Gaskins, the recent Miami commitment, 6'8" forward who can just really shoot the ball. His ability to the consolidated game that he has and ability to knock down shots at 6'8", also the ability to guard at multiple positions. There's a lot there as being a complementary player. As we know, going toward the NBA, there's 5 to 10 maybe featured players, and 95% of the league is a complementary guy. How do you make the featured guys better? Well, Caleb Gaskin's ability to pull gravity as a shooter, but also guard multiple positions is super intriguing as somebody that, as you look at long-term, the floor is very high, ultimately looking at what he could be at the next level. Another one being Deron Rippey. You look at Deron Rippey, we have him at number 5 right now. The explosive nature that he brings on the ball is just second to none within the class. What he did this summer, just attacking every matchup possible, traveling all over, even the world, to get to every run that he could possibly get to, and coming out on top for a lot of them. Adidas Euro camp, he was a first team all camp member, NBA top 100 camp, top, all camp member. You had the Donovan Mitchell camp where he was MVP, high school MVP at the Steph Curry camp, et cetera, et cetera. He just went throughout the summer chasing matchups and performed every step of the way. He's great in the pick and roll. His explosive nature at the rim. He's got good pace, good floor vision, and he just puts the defense on his heels consistently. And for that, jumped up all the way to number 5 in the rankings. And then we have Jacob Weber, a guy who came in at number 33 right now for Rivals, the Purdue commitment shooting. The shooting's unreal. He had multiple stops throughout the Adidas circuit this summer where he was shooting over 40% from 3 on 10-plus attempts per game. Off movement shooting, his ability to set his feet, get his shoulders square, and have consistent balance points throughout his jump shot is super unique. Love the movement shooting that he's going to bring to Purdue and kind of what Matt Painter does there. But also love the upside of what he brings, with the 6'6" frame. He's got good length and athletic fluidity as well. So there's a lot to like there, and I'm very intrigued by the upside of those. But those are just a couple more guys that, like, as I said, the thing about rankings is that everybody's criteria, everybody's eyesight, everything is different in what it brings. So it's always good to know as to what it is you're looking at. When you're looking at the numbers, when you're looking at the names on the Rivals list, NBA draft is what we go for at the very top of the list. So we're trying to go 1 to 1, 2 to 2, and all that type of stuff as well.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. You're looking at more like NBA translation with just their size, positional size, and skill and feel and athleticism at the end of the day. That's just really your criteria. Guys that I actually really like, I know you ranked them in your last one, not this recent one, last one, but Ethan Harris. Iowa commit. I really like him at like 6'7", 6'8", high level skill and feel, made shots, played at that Pro 16 Puma circuit. I was really impressed by him. Quincy Wadley. He's back, I think 25 or 26. He's someone that was ranked high early on in like his underclass years. Kind of seen a little bit of a drop off, but his play, especially in Border League, was super impressive. We're seeing the scoring. We're seeing just the dynamic like ability with his scoring, and definitely seeing why he's like a top 30 inside the 30s in his in your rankings. Other guys that I really just enjoy watching, but I like JJ Andrews. To me, I like JJ. I just like what he just brings to the table, just with his versatility, like when he's just playing hard, getting to the rim and being active. We know he's someone that, one PCN twice, one MVP's got a lot done, right? But again, it's that just me. I like guys that just he's just been productive, right? Now the long-term upside at the end of the day, that's just to be determined where that all lands. But he's been productive, and I know And the reason I also brought him up, I know Jamie had, when I talked about it earlier, people give Jamie a hard time on this, but Jamie is really looking at NBA translation, and he's not saying that JJ is not a pro. He's just saying, hey, some of these guys, and there are guys that have stepped up since July or in the summer or just recently in these preseason that have just really been kind of playing more into their ceiling and kind of matching their ceiling. So that's why the rankings are where they're at. But I'm someone that really likes JJ. I like someone that really likes Ethan, Quincy, the Ratliff twins. Like I really like that how much they have jumped up in your rankings. Willie Burnett, that's another kind of sleeper, and I think he fits Jans at Mississippi State really, really well. I think that's a really good fit, and I think he can be an impact guy right away. So Jamie, again, I've said it before. I applaud you because for one person to be doing the rankings and you're doing 28s, 27s, and 26s. People, I know there's going to be people in the comments section that are going to talk a lot of shit, and that is okay. Try doing what he's doing. Try to do what he's doing. It's not something easy to do, and it's hard as hell for one person to do it. So, shout out to you, Jamie, for doing what you're doing.
No, yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've learned to not get into the comments and do all that stuff and have a thick skin with it, and whatever the case. But yeah, no, it's rankings is rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's another episode of the Next Gen Pod. We appreciate you guys.